What is ethnography? Ethnography originates from Greek words ethnos, which means folk, people, or nation, and grapho, which means I write. So ethnography is a social research involving the examination of the behavior of the participants or users in a given social situation and understanding how the users see the world and interact with everything around them. According to American cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead, what people say, what people do, and what they say they do are completely different things. We have alarming blind spots when it comes to describing our own behavior. We falter especially when trying to define why we did something. When we try to describe the motivations behind our actions, we are often unable to name the things that compelled us. Sometimes in a hurry for an answer, we sort of make one up or take a best guess. The needs that urge us towards our actions might not be clear to us. This is largely why ethnography was born. Now let us look at the ethnography methods. These methods include direct observation, diary studies, video recordings, photography, and the devices that a person uses throughout the day. Observations can be made anywhere from the user's workplace, their home, or while they are out with their family and friends. The length of the studies can vary depending on the research that is being conducted, ranging from a couple of hours to several months. There are two methods of observations, passive and contextual. So what is passive observation? Passive observation, also known as shadowing, is where users are shadowed while they go about their everyday tasks observed by a researcher. Sometimes before the research begins, users will be interviewed on their own or in groups to learn more about them, and then observations will be documented using number of methods mentioned earlier. The research may be conducted as a part of a team so that a larger number of users can be observed and therefore gaining a greater insight quickly. This observation method is a good way for researchers to see how users go about their day firsthand and identify any disconnections of when the users tell the researcher one thing but actually interacts in another way. Now let us look at contextual interviews. Contextual interviews are where the researcher will interact with users while observing them going about their everyday tasks. The interviews will be held in a natural environment so as not to feel too formal. The researcher will observe the user going about their everyday tasks and ask questions to gain insight. Now moving to the next section, advantages of ethnography. The first advantage is that you get to see firsthand how users interact with technology in the natural environment. Second, you might identify unexpected issues that you might not have encountered in a usability test. Third, it can be an opportunity to test new product ideas before they are released to the market to see what demand is like. Now let us look at the disadvantages. Because there is a greater insight into the user, it takes much longer to generate and analyze all the findings. Source studies may not get a user acting naturally as they are aware of the researcher's presence. The cost of conducting ethnographic studies is typically much higher than conducting a usability test. Here are a few things to consider during an ethnography research. If you want to learn more about ethnography, check out these sites.